good shower. Let's go check on the channel. Oh my god. 50 followers? What?
Wow, that was a good shower. Oh my god. 300 followers?
Madman. You're a madman. This is blasphemy. This is madness. This is Sparta!
Okay, step one in buying a house is save up your deposit. If you can't save for a deposit, you ain't got a shit show of being able to pay off a mortgage. Basically what I'm talking about here is budgeting. So if you have already gone through this in your life and you've learned how to budget, then you'll be able to save the money for a deposit for a house. Because it's not just about saving the money for the deposit, you've got to be able to repay that mortgage as well. You might need as much as 20%, or you may need as little as 5%. So I mean, at this particular point in time here in New Zealand, you really need between 10 and 20% for a deposit. So if you want to buy a $450,000 home, you really need, you know, $50,000 to $100,000.
In your next step, you've got the issue of finance. You've got to get pre-approved for finance. So what that means is that you've got to go to like a mortgage broker or go to your bank, and they are the ones that are going to look at your income, you know, look at how much money you're earning, you know, what's your weekly ability to repay, you know, and ultimately come with a figure of, you know, this is what you can afford. So if you haven't figured out what you need or what you want out of a house, you know, when the time comes for house hunting, that's when you need to really figure that out. So, you know, you need to know how many bathrooms you want, how many bedrooms you want, what kind of yard space you have, and then you've got to go and have a look, you know. Location's also very important too. Location, location, location. So let's go out there and look at a house, and I don't know what the condition of this house is going to be like, but it's out in Burnside, which is a good area, but you never know. It could be good condition, could be bad condition. Let's go have a look.
Alright, part of the difficulty with buying a house is having a look at houses and then discovering that they're not in the condition that you really hoped they'd be in. What did you think of that house that we just saw?
The section is okay, big, just too old. Very old-fashioned. That's not the one I'm looking for.
Yeah, see, this is a house that is in a great area. They say to buy the worst house in the best street, and this is a good street, but when you look at a house that's not in the greatest condition, you have to think about how much is it going to cost to fix it up. And that house had a lot of issues. God, that house, it needs carpet, it needs curtains, it needs paint, it needs new fences.
Yeah.
That awning on the back, they had an awning on the back with a washing machine underneath the back of it. I don't think they had a building consent to build that. Oh.
No, he just make himself. He just make it.
Not a good house. And this is one of the difficulties with buying a house, is going to a house and discovering it's not a good house. So let's say that you've made an offer on a house and that offer has been accepted. So, well, first of all, congratulations if you've reached that point. Getting to that point can be tricky. But then you have what's called the confirmation period. So you make an offer, it gets accepted, and then you've got usually it's about 10 days, around about 10 working days, to reach confirmation day. And then after that you reach settlement day. So settlement day is also generally known as possession day. That is when you actually physically move into the house. But before then you've got to reach confirmation day. So usually when you apply for your finance, there will be terms and conditions attached to that finance. For example, the bank may require you to buy a valuation for the house to prove to them that it's worth roughly what you're going to pay for it. So there's $500 right there. They'll also ask you to get a building report to prove that the house is in an okay condition. There's another $400 right there. Now in New Zealand, you also have to purchase limb and title information. Your lawyer is required to do this. So limb and title is basically land information memorandum. That's another $200 there. And when it's all said and done, assuming that that all checks out and it's all good and it's all hunky-dory and there's no problems with any of it, you pay your lawyer at the end of it. That's another $1,400 or $1,500, depending on how much your lawyer costs. So you've got all of these costs associated with buying a house, and they're all additional and on top of the actual costs of the mortgage and the purchase of the house. Oh, and I forgot to mention insurance. Insurance is of course something else that you've got to have organised as part of that list of stuff that you've got to have done. Which in the past in this city has been a bit of a bloody nightmare, because here we've had a whole bunch of earthquakes, and it took a few years for those earthquakes to just settle down and stop happening, and so the insurance companies were a little bit hesitant about actually insuring properties, especially ones that had been heavily affected, you know, in the areas that were heavily affected by earthquakes in the past. So there may be something like that that applies to you. San Francisco, somewhere like that. So anyway, if you guys didn't know any of this stuff before about, you know, buying a house, I hope it was helpful. I hope it gave you some sort of idea. It is complex, and it can potentially be even more complex than what I've already outlined in this video. For example, when I bought my first home, part of my deposit for that house, which was approximately $26,000, I had to withdraw money from the superannuation retirement savings scheme we have in New Zealand called KiwiSave. I had to make a special withdrawal from that, which was a whole set of paperwork by itself, which a lawyer had to manage. And then there was a government department called Housing New Zealand, which would give a $5,000 subsidy for a first home buyer, and there's a whole other set of paperwork to get that money to come in. Thankfully that stuff doesn't apply for when you're buying your second house, so it's a little bit simpler this time around for when we're going to get our next house, but it's still a pain in the ass and complicated from start to finish, and I don't like the process anyway. That said, when you do sell and you buy, if you do it smart and if you're lucky, and if you essentially, you know, buy low, sell high, bearing in mind that real estate trends, you know, they always go up, but you know, they don't go up in a linear way. You know, they go up and then down and up and down and up and down. It's always up, but you want to, you know, try to buy low and try to sell high. That's, I suppose, the best advice I could possibly give. But going back to what I said at the very beginning of the video, if you've never bought a house before, or if you don't know, or you know, whatever it is, you know, you have the aspiration to own your own home one day. What you must do at the very, very beginning of it all is learn how to budget and learn how to save, because you will need to save the money for the deposit of the house. If you're not able to save the money for the deposit, you ain't got a shit show of ever owning a house, basically, you know, and that's on you for not learning how to save money. And you know, so learning how to save money is then also going to give you the discipline to give you the ability to repay. So another essential bit of information there that the banks are looking for, you know. They're not going to go giving you money unless you got the ability to repay. This video has gone on long enough. Thank you very much for sticking with it. I hope it was helpful to somebody. See you in the next video. And if you like this video, smash the upvote button. Maybe give me a follow on VidMe. Thanks. See ya.
Look at her in the sunshine. So comfortable. Scully.
So we're at the airport ways at the moment, and Coco's just gone in there to get a package. Hopefully that's going to be her passport. And if that is her passport, it's going to have her permanent residence visa on it, which has taken 4 years to get. Hey, she's coming.
Cut it. visa.
Visa expiry date travel indefinite. Visa expiry indefinite. This is the license to live in New Zealand. 4 years, and she's got it. It's done. Finally. People's Republic of China.